Have you ever considered which regrets might weigh heaviest if you no longer had the chance to share moments with your spouse? Most couples avoid dwelling on such thoughts, and it's no wonder. It feels uncomfortable and even a little frightening. Yet, as much as we try to avoid it, the truth is that our time with loved ones is precious and limited. By refusing to acknowledge it, we unintentionally leave ourselves exposed to unspoken words, unresolved hurts, and lost moments that we can never get back once our partner is gone. The reality is that challenges in life are inevitable. When you're apart from someone you love, difficult emotions may arise. But regret? That's often something we can lessen, even prevent, if we're willing to see it before it arrives. In this video, I want to explore 5 common regrets people have when they reflect on time missed with their spouse. These regrets are rarely about grand gestures or big events. Instead, they're born in the everyday, the words left unsaid, the moments we didn't appreciate, or the conversations we kept postponing for a later time that never came. But here's the unexpected gift hidden inside this difficult subject. By recognizing these regrets now, while your spouse is still here, you have the chance to choose differently. You can love more openly, live more intentionally, and prepare your heart with wisdom for whatever the future may hold. And if you stay with me until the end, you'll see how understanding these 5 regrets can not only deepen your marriage in the present, but also spare you from carrying unnecessary sorrow later. By the time we finish, my hope is that you'll walk away with both clarity and courage, a clearer vision of what matters most, and the bravery to live and love without so many regrets. So let's begin. One of the deepest regrets people often confess after losing a spouse is realizing how many simple but powerful words of love were never spoken. Over time, it's easy to slip into routine, sharing meals, running errands, or discussing the day-to-day responsibilities, while forgetting to say the little things that matter most. I love you, I'm thankful for you, or even, my life is better because you're in it. Those words may feel unnecessary in the moment, but when left unspoken, their absence is felt with an ache that cuts especially sharp once your partner is gone. We tend to assume that our spouse already knows how we feel. But research in psychology reminds us that spoken affirmation isn't just nice, it's essential. It strengthens bonds, quiets doubts, and nurtures intimacy. Words are more than sounds carried through the air. They are proof of love given shape, evidence that your feelings are real. Without them, even if your heart was full of affection, your partner may leave this world never fully certain of just how deeply you cherish them. That uncertainty lingers, creating a quiet ache that can haunt the surviving spouse for years. Take Harold's story, for example. He's an 82-year-old man who, after 55 years of marriage, wished he had expressed more gratitude to his wife. When I asked him what haunted him most, he said it wasn't their disagreements. Every couple has those. What kept him up at night was the silence. The countless mornings he never paused to thank her for making his coffee just the way he liked it. The way he rarely acknowledged how she kept his favorite blanket neatly folded at the foot of the bed. Only after she was gone did he realize how much those little acts of care meant, and how seldom he voiced his gratitude. The lesson here is clear. Love that stays trapped inside doesn't protect us, it robs us. Affection has to be spoken, not merely assumed. When you whisper your thanks, when you say, "I love you" out loud, or when you linger just a little longer while holding your spouse's hand, you're not only filling their heart with warmth, you're also protecting your own from tomorrow's regrets. Every word of love expressed today becomes a comfort you'll carry with you tomorrow, and that brings us to the second regret, one that weighs heavily on so many who are left behind, the regret of avoiding the difficult but necessary conversations. Many couples quietly avoid discussions about things like end-of-life wishes, finances, healthcare decisions, or even how the household would run if one partner were suddenly gone. That silence often comes from a place of love. We don't want to cause fear, stir sadness, or acknowledge that our time together won't last forever. But the cost of skipping those conversations is steep. The spouse who is left to navigate life alone often feels overwhelmed and uncertain, facing decisions they hadn't prepared for. In the moment, avoiding the hard talks feels easier. It spares us from discomfort, from imagining painful possibilities. Yet psychologically, that avoidance plants the seeds of regret that will grow later. When the person you love most is no longer there to answer, you're left with haunting questions. What would they have wanted? Did I truly honor their wishes? Am I doing things the way they hoped I would? That constant uncertainty can sting just as deeply as the grief itself, leaving behind a burden of guilt that could have been avoided with a little honesty and preparation. Take Marjorie, for instance. She's a 79-year-old woman who, after her husband was no longer with her, faced unexpected challenges. After his passing, she admitted she didn't even know where the insurance papers were kept. She wasn't sure which bills needed to be paid, or what kind of memorial he would have chosen for himself. Every decision felt like a blind guess, and while she tried her best, she carried with her a nagging fear that she had somehow let him down. That weight stayed with her long after the sharp edge of grief had dulled. The lesson is plain. Love isn't only about sharing joy and happiness, it's also about preparing for life's storms together. When you open up space for these difficult conversations, you give your spouse the peace of knowing their wishes are understood, and you give yourself the security of certainty when the time comes. Facing discomfort today is far less painful than living with the regret of confusion tomorrow. If you're still here watching and this resonates with you, drop the number 2 in the comments so I know you're following along. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to hit that button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. Your support helps us keep creating thoughtful content that both informs and inspires. Now let's keep going. One of the most heartbreaking realizations after a spouse passes is the recognition of how many ordinary moments could have been turned into cherished memories, but weren't. Life together has a way of slipping into routine, dinners at the same table, weekends filled with errands, quiet evenings in front of the TV. These everyday rhythms feel so normal that we forget how fragile they really are. But once your partner is gone, those ordinary days suddenly shine like treasures, and the chances you miss to turn them into memories weigh heavily on the heart. From a psychological point of view, people are quick to adapt to comfort. We fall into the trap of believing there will always be another chance, another walk in the park, another late-night conversation, another trip waiting for us in the future. But that sense of endless abundance is an illusion. When time is cut short, it's rarely the big milestones we ache for most. It's the little things, the overlooked everyday joys, that leave the sharpest regret. Think of Sylvia, a 75-year-old widow. She remembered how often she and her husband would say, "We'll travel more once we fully retire," or "We'll spend more time together after the house projects are finished." But retirement never came for him, and the house projects never ended. Now she clings to photos of their Sunday breakfasts together, wishing she had created more intentional memories in the moment, instead of waiting for the perfect time that never arrived. This regret teaches us something vital. Love isn't lived in the future. It's lived right now. Choosing to pause for a shared laugh, to take a spontaneous day trip, or to enjoy a distraction-free evening at home, these small choices turn into treasures when one partner is gone. Memories aren't luxuries. They are the lifelines that help us carry the weight of loss. And then there's another regret that often surfaces, one that digs even deeper than missed memories, realizing how much of your own identity was set aside during the marriage. It's natural, especially after decades together, to lean heavily on your spouse for companionship, for decisions, even for daily purpose. But when one partner passes away first, the surviving spouse may feel suddenly stripped of not only their partner, but of themselves. From a psychological perspective, this regret stems from imbalance. A healthy relationship thrives on togetherness, but it also needs room for individuality. When that balance tips too far into dependency, losing a spouse can feel like losing your entire foundation. The sorrow isn't just about their absence. It's about facing the hollow space where your own independence should have been nurtured. Consider Walter, an 81-year-old widower married for nearly 60 years. His wife had always been the one to manage their social life. She planned visits with family, kept friendships alive, and organized their gatherings. After she died, Walter felt crushing isolation. He admitted he didn't know how to maintain those connections without her. His grief was deepened by a profound loneliness and the regret that he had never built his own social circle or pursued his own interests while she was alive. The truth is, holding on to your own identity within a marriage isn't selfish, it's vital. Continuing to explore your interests, keeping friendships alive, and investing in your personal growth doesn't take away from your relationship. It enriches it. In fact, nurturing your independence alongside your love gives both you and your spouse a rare and beautiful gift: resilience. If the day ever comes when you must walk alone, you'll be better prepared, and in the meantime, your marriage will be stronger for it. If you're still with me and these insights are striking a chord, type the number 4 down in the comments so I know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time. Be sure to click the bell so you never miss future videos. Your support is what allows us to keep creating content meant to both inform and inspire. Now, let's move forward. Perhaps one of the heaviest regrets that people carry after losing a spouse is the weight of unresolved conflict. Every marriage has its moments. Disagreements, frustrations, and hurt feelings are part of life together. But when those wounds are left open, when forgiveness is delayed, they can turn into lifelong scars once your partner is gone. Death, after all, silences everything. There's no chance to apologize, no opportunity to forgive, no way to set down grudges that suddenly seem so small in the face of loss. In the moment, holding on to conflict can feel justified. We tell ourselves we'll deal with it later, or that time will smooth things over. But when later never arrives, the regret is sharp and merciless. People often look back and realize the fight itself was meaningless. It wasn't about the bill, the dishes, or the misunderstanding. What truly mattered was the chance to make peace, to say, "I forgive you," or even just to smile again before it was too late. Take Florence, a 78-year-old widow. She shared that her final conversation with her husband had been an argument, something as trivial as a misplaced bill. She never imagined that night would be her last chance to speak with him. When he died suddenly, the weight of that unfinished fight became one of her deepest sorrows. The pain wasn't about the bill, it was about the love she wished she had given instead of anger. The truth is, reconciliation is a choice we must practice every day. Letting go of grudges doesn't erase the past, but it does free both partners to live more fully in the present. When you choose peace while you're together, you ensure that love, not conflict, shapes the memories you cherish. The regret of unresolved conflict is heavy, but thankfully, it's also one of the most preventable. As we close this video, let's pause to reflect on the 5 regrets we've explored together. Not speaking enough words of love and appreciation, avoiding those difficult but necessary conversations, taking everyday experiences for granted, neglecting your own independence and identity, and holding on to conflict instead of making peace. Each of these regrets can leave behind a lasting ache when a spouse passes first. But here's the hopeful truth. Each one also carries a lesson, and every lesson gives you the chance to change. There is still time to love more openly, to prepare more wisely, and to live more fully with the person you hold dear. Loss is certain, but regret doesn't have to be. By choosing to express gratitude, by daring to face hard conversations, by treasuring even the smallest of days, by cultivating your own spirit, and by making peace where peace is needed, you can soften the weight of grief and strengthen the bond you share today. Every choice you make now becomes the comfort and courage you'll carry tomorrow. So let me leave you with this question. What change can you make right now to ensure that you're living with love and without regret? The answer you discover may turn out to be the greatest gift you'll ever give, not just to your spouse, but to yourself as well. Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one takeaway from this video and how you plan to apply it in your own life. Your words mean more than you know, and reading them gives us encouragement to keep going. If you found this video meaningful, please like, subscribe, and share it with others. Your support truly helps us continue bringing you thoughtful, heartfelt content. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.